My name is Renato Francia, and you're listening to the creative process. Actually, watching it because I'm kind of like watching the camera. So, whatever. It's really sponsored by Nutella. Actually, not, but I wish it would. But I'm gonna talk about basically what does it mean when it comes to developing your own software, your own piece of software, and what do you need to learn? What do you need to make in order to like basically what are the steps in order to make that software of your dreams of that game, or you want to make a mod or whatever. So one thing is going to be more about whether you want to start your own business or you want to start your own career, and that doesn't make any sense, I know, but it's basically it starts with a goal. That's basically what I'm trying to say. It starts with a goal, with an idea. If you want to learn how to make a game or how to make something, like just start with simple things. Start how do you want to make something cool? What do you need to do in order to make something cool? What do you need to learn? And then from there, start from step one, and from that step, just go. Let's step two. Like what now? Now I know what to we need to learn. What are the actions that I'm going to take in order to do that? Do you want to spend 1 or 2 hours learning how to code and then 1 hour coding? That's basically something that's going to be very important. In this case, action requires, like action, requires definitely a lot of involvement, a lot of energy. So first thing first, get your ideas done. Second thing, start working on actions. Start making code, start making things that resemble something that you want to do. For example, if I want to make, I always go with the example of a game because making games are fun. It's really fun. Just start building piece by piece, and then from there start adding new features, and then starting adding new cool concepts, start putting a system point, making new players come in, and then put it online, and then from there see how many people actually are playing this stuff. So that's the fun part about it. I mean, coding should be fun. Coding should be something that you start with an idea, and then from there start making things little by little. It's always a process of how to get a big problem and then breaking it down into pieces. That's basically what it means, coding. I know it sounds something like magical, where we, like software wizards and stuff like that are going to be handling puzzles around there, and then from there something happens, boom, out of nothing. And that's not the way it works. The way it works is more about getting that, getting to that point where you understand what you're doing. And to clarify what I'm trying to say in here is that when you start a program, honestly, you have no idea what's going to happen to it. It's more about, of course, there's ways like you learn in college and you learn in school or you learn in books, or how to develop an architecture, how to develop a process of how to make software. There's things like buzzword like Scrum. We need to actually have meetings. We need to have a, or we need to have an agile like methodology in order to solve blah 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 blah. I mean, that's great if you're trying to make a business out of this. If you're trying to make something like a more substantial, a better architecture to this, um, that's great. I mean, when it comes to just learning a couple things, but when it comes to actually learning the process, learning how to code, and actually have fun with it and make cool things about it, I mean, this is gonna be overwhelming. I mean, it's like, okay, it's like going to like playing a sport. Let's say I love playing tennis, so playing tennis and then learn every single piece of concept of the racket, of the wind, of how the hard floor versus the grass versus whatever it means to learn it. I mean, this stuff is useful in some cases, but I'm not gonna have fun learning all this theory before I start playing tennis. And even if I learn all this theory, that's not gonna help me be a better, like in this case, tennis player. Same thing happens with software. If just because you learn the theory doesn't mean that you're gonna be an actual great software developer. It just means that you know how it works, which is great because you have an advantage of how things, work and how things are displayed and what's the reason behind what's gone on. But that's not going to help you a lot when it comes to developing a software. When it comes to actually taking action, finding the best way of doing it. And I have a very shaky camera for some reason. That's probably because my arm is moving, and I apologize for that. I haven't noticed it. But one thing is, it's gonna be just basically start working on whatever the plan you try to do. Start with an idea. Start with a project. Start with something simple. Like if you want to make a video game, start with Mario 2D platform. Make simple steps to make Mario move. That's the first goal. Second, make a map out of this, and then from there make a point system, and then from there start adding cooler and cooler stuff. That's all it is. If you try to make an artificial intelligence, just start with a program that says hi every time you enter a code or whatever, or something like understands your schedule. That's something cool too, and then from there aggregate from there and point out. Yes, and that's to answer your question when it comes. Oh, what happens if I screw things up? You will, trust me, you will, and that's because it's the first program that you learn. But that's the way you learn. You learn by screwing things up. You start learning by doing things. Every time you learn, every time you screw up, that's what you learn. I think that's the best way of start working things. And then from there you just start like make things better. I guess that's I mean that's just point that's a part of learning. It's a lot of failing, but failing that actually it's substantial failing. It's not the failing that you do when it's like, oh, I haven't even tried this thing and it's so scary, I'm not gonna do it anymore. No, it's more about this that I tried it, I made it, and then after that I fell, I screwed up, but now I know how to build it the right way. Then you do the second try, and the second try it's going to be even better because now you know how to do it. Now you know what's the architecture to make things happen, and you're probably going to screw up a second time, maybe. If not, that'll be weird. But if you do it, then you have a third time when you actually will make a plausible software, and that's the part that's beautiful because you're just going to make software that looks so cool, so reliable that now guess what? You just become that software developer that you wanted to be. And that's all the point is. That's the creative process. That's the point that I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to teach. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still like doing algorithms. I'm still coding every single day to get things done, to get cool things done. I'm still writing my first hello world every time I begin the day, and that's and in case you don't know about it, hello world is the first program you make every time you enter a software, every time you learn a coding software language. And hello world means it's just like it's just an introduction to things. I mean, I remember the first time I learned, I actually typed "Hello World" in a C++ language, and I screwed up because it didn't compile, it didn't even run, and that was "Hello World." It freaked me out that I couldn't do the first program, the easiest one. But from that point, I learned that why I started asking myself why it didn't work, what is the problem with this, and from there I learned even better things because that actually helped me to understand what was running behind the program, and that's the thing you should focus on. So I didn't want to take too much time on doing this video. I just wanted to show you what does it mean to actually become a coder, like what it means to become a software developer. I know there's so many stuff that I actually taken about. I mean, you cannot learn everything about coding in 8 minutes or less, or even like 9 minutes or less. But it's more about the essence of this. That's what I'm trying to teach you when it comes to developing work and software. So I know I just started with one idea and I actually made to another. That's how my mind works. But that's basically how ideas get made, and that's how polish one thing to another. So yeah, if you have any more ideas, any more things that I missed, which are probably going to be a lot, but I don't really mind. That's basically the way it is. I do things. So yes, that kind of sounded arrogant. Maybe. Anyways, so one thing is like if you actually want to have or have any ideas how you learn to code, how you learn to make things happen. Um, put it in the descriptions below. Put in just some comments below, and then from there, that'd be awesome to hear about it. All right, thank you very much for listening to this. Don't forget to just put some comments below or don't, whatever. It's all right. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.